The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi arrived in Saudi Arabia this week as part of a diplomatic tour aimed at shoring up ties with Iran's Arab neighbors. Earlier, he had gone to both Beirut and Damascus, meeting with the leaders of Lebanon and Syria, and all of this as anticipation builds for Israel's potential retaliation against Iran for the recent ballistic missile strikes. In Riyadh, the Saudi capital, Araghchi met with the Saudi Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan as well as the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. After meeting the Saudi leadership, this is what he said, and I quote, "I hope that these consultations can lead to better conditions for Palestine and Lebanon and establish peace in the region." The visit by Araghchi, the Iranian foreign minister, to Saudi Arabia showcased a more neutral approach to the region's troubles amongst Gulf Arab countries. Remember, countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Bahrain are some of which are America's closest partners in the Middle East, and all of them have expressed growing concern over Israel's relentless aggression in the Gaza Strip, and now increasingly against southern Lebanon. So on Crux Decode, what does the visit of the Iranian foreign minister to these Gulf Arab countries signify? Can Tehran and Riyadh bury the hatchet, with the common cause being Israel's increasing aggression, not just in Gaza, but also in Lebanon? And what may all of this mean for Israel's potential retaliation against Iran? Saudi Arabia and Iran have had a long history of bitter rivalry, but they reached a new agreement in March 2023 which reduced tensions in the Persian Gulf. It also opened the door to high-level diplomatic contacts, including the meetings that we saw this week in Riyadh. The ongoing war in Gaza has further complicated the dynamics between Iran and Saudi Arabia. As Israel intensifies its military operations against Hamas, both countries have expressed solidarity with the Palestinian cause. This shared interest has provided a platform for cooperation as both countries are advocating openly now for an independent Palestinian state. This is a goal that resonates deeply both in Iran and in Saudi Arabia. It plays well within their respective domestic political constituencies. Iran has historically positioned itself as a champion of the Palestinian state. In fact, it has provided outright support to groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia has also emphasized its commitment to Palestinian statehood as part of its broader Arab identity. The current conflict offers both Iran and Saudi Arabia an opportunity to align their foreign policies more closely against Israel's actions. What has brought them together, that's Riyadh and Tehran, is also Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's utter disregard for a two-state solution. He has not only opened new fronts against Hezbollah and against Hamas, he's also opened potentially a direct line of attack against Tehran. The pummeling of Gaza has also continued non-stop, leaving casualties upwards of 40,000. He has stopped saying publicly that he believes in the two-state solution as a final solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict. This has given fertile ground to both Saudi Arabia and Iran to find common cause. Both Iran and Saudi Arabia share a profound discontent with Netanyahu's administration for the hardline stand he's taken against Palestinians. But more importantly, they're also miffed with the Israeli government's reluctance to engage in any serious fashion to try and find a ceasefire in Gaza. For the last year since the war began, the United States, along with its Arab partners like Egypt and Qatar, have been trying, very unsuccessfully, for a ceasefire that would put a halt to the hostilities. The Israeli government's approach has been characterized by expansionist policies both in the West Bank and in Gaza, and a lack of a genuine effort towards establishing a viable Palestinian state. This situation has galvanized both Tehran and Riyadh. In fact, they're voicing their opposition much more aggressively. They're framing their diplomatic engagement between Riyadh and Tehran as part of a broader struggle for Palestinian rights. The alignment on this issue is very significant because it highlights not just regional adversaries and how they can find common ground, but also underscores potentially the collaborative efforts that they can make towards bringing these two traditional rivals together. As both nations navigate their historical animosities, their mutual support for Palestine could be a catalyst for deeper cooperation. Iran's ISNA news agency also reported that Abbas Araghchi, his regional tour, it sought to end Israeli crimes in both Gaza and Lebanon. Araghchi also met with top Lebanese officials in Beirut on Friday and also with President Bashar al-Assad of Syria in Damascus on Saturday. Iran and Saudi Arabia have been embroiled in a bitter rivalry since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, after which Iran was established as a Shiite power, and that was in stark opposition to the Sunni-majority Saudi Arabia. The relationship deteriorated over time, and particularly after the execution of the Shia cleric Nimr al-Nimr by Saudi Arabia in 2016. That episode, that execution, led to the complete severance of diplomatic ties between Riyadh and Tehran. However, a breakthrough occurred in March of 2023 when China brokered an agreement to restore diplomatic ties. This thaw has allowed for renewed dialogue and cooperation on various issues, including regional security and economic collaboration. The background of this new détente is essential to understand the significance of this. Both nations, that's Iran and Saudi Arabia, have long sought to exert their influence over the Middle East, often through proxy conflicts, whether it's in Yemen or in Syria or now increasingly in Iraq. However, the changing geopolitical landscape, which is marked by an American withdrawal from the region and also by increased Chinese involvement, has prompted both Riyadh and Tehran to come together. China's involvement in brokering the recent rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia cannot be overstated. Beijing's strategic interests in the region, primarily centered around energy security, have driven it to play a more active role in the Middle East. So by facilitating dialogue between these two rival powers, Iran and Saudi Arabia, China is hoping to stabilize this region, which is crucial for China's own energy imports. China imports more than 5 million barrels of oil every single day from the Middle East, and more than half of that is through oil imports from the Gulf region. The agreement reached in March 2023 was not merely about restoring diplomatic ties, it also represented China's growing clout in international affairs, also its ability to navigate what is a complex geopolitical landscape. The successful mediation showcases China's potential as an alternative partner for Middle Eastern countries outside of their over-reliance on America. The thawing of ties between Iran and Saudi Arabia holds significant implications for the broader Middle East. As these two countries work towards rebuilding trust and cooperation, they may also help reshape traditional alliances and traditional rivalries across the region. Their joint stand on the Palestinian statehood issue could embolden other Arab countries to reassess their relationship. In fact, this rapprochement may also influence how regional conflicts in that Middle East region are managed moving forward, with both countries advocating for dialogue rather than any form of direct military confrontation. There is potential for reduced tensions in places like Yemen, Syria, even Iraq, where they have previously supported opposing sides. So it looks like it's time for a major reset in the Middle East involving the Shia-Sunni fault line.